My name's Courtney Gilbert, and I'm the curator of visual arts at the Sun Valley Center for the Arts. The exhibition we have up today is called Crossing Cultures, and it's a look at race and ethnicity in the United States today and how those categories and ideas have changed over the last 30 years or so. This exhibition is part of a bigger community-wide conversation about race and ethnicity that really it grew out of our curiosity about the way those ideas are changing in the United States. So our visual arts exhibition features work by 4 artists. All of them are based in the Western United States, and each of them works with traditional signs, symbols, and forms, and looks at the way those signs and symbols change in different contexts. So Joe Feddersen is a member of the Confederated Colville Tribes, a group of Native American tribes in the Pacific Northwest. He lives in northern Washington. He taught at Evergreen State College for many years before he recently retired. So for this exhibition, we asked Joe to create a new body of work that would be a consideration of some of the ideas that we're trying to get at. And he had been thinking a lot about wind chimes, about charms on charm bracelets, and about blankets. And he kind of brought those 3 ideas together in this blanket of glass charms that I'm standing next to. They're beautiful individual pieces of fused glass that he has made and then hung together to create this interwoven, as he calls it, a blanket of charms that refer to everything from simple human figures to animals. I think for Joe, this piece is in large part kind of a layering of his own personal experience, his relationship to nature, his experience as somebody of Native American descent, his life living in cities in the Northwest, in Seattle, and also the blanket form. You know, blankets have a really important role in Native American culture as gifts and as objects used in ceremonies. And he points out that his ancestors have been weaving things like trains and houses into blankets for 150 years. So I think he sees his use of symbols from contemporary popular culture in traditional forms as a continuation of that process, one that has been going on for generations. Another artist in the exhibition is a young woman, Serrano, who lives in Los Angeles. She was born and raised in Los Angeles, went to art school, and she continues to live and make work there. And kind of like Joe Feddersen, she's fascinated by the everyday details of urban life in the neighborhoods that she lives in and moves through in Los Angeles. She builds these beautiful cardboard sculptures of buildings in neighborhoods that of businesses that seem almost kind of improvisational. So, for instance, she talks about a store near her that's a clothing store, a liquor shop, and a Zumba studio. All 3 of those share the same space. And that idea to her of people kind of moving back and forth between different types of businesses, and if you look at her sculptures also between languages, between English and Spanish, is central to her work. And I think that these little buildings that she makes, where she paints, she kind of sculpts them, paints them, and then includes photographs of details of other buildings in Los Angeles that are interesting to her, for delicate burglar bars and beautiful window panes. I think these buildings are kind of metaphors for people and how people often move back and forth between languages and between identities, depending on what context they're in and who they're talking to. Third artist in the exhibition is Julie Chang, who is based in San Francisco. Julie grew up in Orange County. Her parents immigrated here from China, and her father was an engineer who worked on the space shuttle project. Julie's really interested in patterns and symbols, and where they come from, how they migrate from culture to culture across continents, and how their meaning changes in that pattern. She's also interested in the idea of patterns as status symbols. So she's created a set of scrolls, these beautiful 2-sided scrolls that hang from the ceiling, as well as some paintings on panel that are just gorgeously crafted and made, that contain patterns and symbols that appear in different places in each of the panels and kind of migrate themselves from piece to piece within her body of work. There are everything from guns and My Little Pony and oil wells to teepees and Gucci symbols. She talks about a rhyme she used to sing as a child, Chinese, Japanese, Indian chief, and it was a jump rope song that she would sing with her friends, and she didn't think about what that rhyming song really meant until she was an adult. So she's making work that considers what happens when you take symbols out of their original context and put them in an entirely new one. The final artist in the exhibition is Bob Dix, who lives in Haley. He's actually an art and math teacher at Haley Elementary, and he's been a practicing artist for several decades. He makes really beautiful work in a variety of media. So for the last 3 years, Bob has been making a series of drawings that are really about an exploration of his Japanese identity. His father was American, of European descent, but he was raised primarily by his mother. We have on display 60 large drawings, charcoal and sumi ink on paper, of lots of different symbols from his childhood. There are images of decorations that were in his mother's home. They're all grounded on this beautiful wooden floor, and that I think comes out of his own travels in Japan and his experiences visiting temples. He's installed them in a way that the space feels almost sacred and very much like you're entering into a temple, this space for contemplation. The Sun Valley Center for the Arts is located at the corner of 5th and Washington in Ketchum. It's open from 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. On Saturdays in February, we're open from 11 to 5. Admission's always free, so I hope you'll come in and see the exhibition.